Today we're going to be talking about multiplying fractions. And multiplication is repeated addition, which means you have the same number over and over again. So it's the same thing when you're dealing with fractions. You're dealing with repeated addition. So we're going to be multiplying whole numbers by fractions today. And I'm going to first show you with pictures so that you can see the repeated addition, okay? So we're going to start with something simple as 1 times 3/4. Now remember, whenever you multiply something by 1, it stays the same, and you can see that. You have one group of 3/4. So if you look at this, right, you have 3/4, so your answer is going to be 3/4. Very simple, one group of 3/4, okay? So multiply something by 1, it stays the same. You multiply something by less than 1, it gets smaller. So the answer is smaller than 1, the same as 3/4. So now over here we're going to have 2 times 3/4. So we have two groups of 3/4. So we have 3/4 and 3/4. And what that is going to equal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6/4 altogether, okay? Because remember, the fourths designates the size of the piece. So now the thing is, though, is 6/4 is an improper fraction. So you always have to put your answer into simplest form. Okay. So what that means for an improper fraction is the simplest form of an improper fraction is going to be a mixed number. And then you would possibly have to check to make sure that is in simplest form. So let's check this out. So you have 6/4. 4 goes into 6 one time. With 2 left over, you have 1 and 2/4. Okay, you could actually make this even another way, even smaller. So you can have 1 and 1/2 because 2/4 is the same as a half. So 1/2 is the simplest form of 2/4. All right, so there you go. Now our next one, we're going to have 3 groups of 3/4. So we have 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. So 3 times 3/4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9/4. We need to turn 9/4 into a mixed number because it's an improper fraction. So remember, when you're turning an improper fraction into a mixed number, you look at the denominator and you say, how many groups of the denominator can I make? Because every group of 4 is going to make 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that will make 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, that'll make 2, and you'll have 1/4 left over. So you're going to have 2 and 1/4, which is already in simplest form because the numerator is a 1. All right, and remember too, when you're changing an improper fraction to a mixed number, you do top divided by not bottom. How many groups of 4 can you make? 2, with one group of 4 left over, 2 and 1/4. Okay, that's where that comes from. So again, we're kind of putting together all those separate skills that we've learned to solve one problem. Now it's kind of easy to see with pictures because you can count out, you can see how many fourths you have, you can see how many holes that it makes. So pictures are nice to help us understand what we're doing. So if you want to pause and just take a look at these pictures to make sure you can understand where these numbers come from, and then I'm going to show you how to do it without pictures, because as you know, drawing pictures is not always an efficient way to multiply. All right, so let's look at what we call the standard algorithm, like the normal way we're going to do it, the way that we're going to do it without pictures, okay? So there's a few things you have to know. Is one, if you're multiplying fractions, we're going to make sure that both numbers are fractions, okay? Make sure both numbers are fractions, okay? So that means if I'm doing 6 times 1/2, okay, I need to turn the 6 into a fraction. All right. We're going to do this by putting a 1 under the whole number, okay? Because remember, 1 over 1 would equal 1. 6 over 6 would equal 1. All right, 4 over 4 equals 1. Anytime the top and the bottom number are the same, they equal 1. So we have 6 holes. So what we have is 6 holes is 6 ones. So you can make a whole number into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to turn it into a fraction by doing 6 over 1. Now we can multiply it 1/2. Okay, The other cool thing about multiplying fractions, which is way easier than adding and subtracting, is you don't have to change denominators. I know that some of you are jumping up and down in joy right now. You don't have to change denominators. Yay! No finding the least common multiple. All right, cool. Now, what do? Don't have to change denominators. This time, you get to multiply, and you multiply both the numerator and denominator. Multiply both the numerator and denominators. Okay, so remember when you're adding and subtracting, the denominators stay the same. When you're multiplying, you can multiply them, okay? So we're going to do 6 times 1, which is 6, and then 1 times 2, which is 2, which makes sense because we have 6 groups of halves, so we have 6 halves, okay? Then what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to turn this, it's an improper fraction, we're going to turn it into a mixed number. So every group of 2 is going to make 1, so if I have 6 halves, how many groups of 2 can I make? Well, 6 divided by 2, 3, so I can make 3 wholes, okay, which is 6. I have no leftovers, so it's just going to equal 3. That was easy, okay? All right, let's try another one. Let's do 4 times 3/5, okay? So 4 times 3/5, we've got to turn the whole number into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it, multiply across our numerators, which is 12, multiply across our denominators, which is 5, and then we need to take this and turn this into a mixed number. So how many groups of 5 can we make? Every group of 5 is going to equal 1 because we have fifths. So if we have 12 and we need to make groups of 5, I can make 2 groups of 5, which is 10, and I'm going to have 2 left over. So, and remember, this number becomes the denominator. So it's going to equal 2 and 2/5 is my final answer. Well, I got to check and make sure that that's in simplest form. I know that 2/5 is already in simplest form, okay? So this is our final answer. It's going to make 2 and 2/5.